Okay, so what we're going to be doing here is working on the quarter one benchmark review, and we're looking at the first problem. So this is starting with stating, assuming x squared plus 6x plus 2x squared minus 4x equals 8 minus 7. Assuming that that is correct, which of the following is also correct? Select all that apply. Okay, so the first thing we want to make sure we understand about the benchmarks is that there are several questions on it that are multiple choice, but it is a select all that apply. Now, when you have a question like that, if there are 6 choices and 4 of them are going to be the correct answers, but you only pick 3, you will miss the whole problem. So that means that we have to look at every single one of our answer choices and see if they will fit the description of what they're looking for. Okay, so let's get this one started. So what I'm going to do first of all is, hopefully you notice that this is not in standard form, which makes it hard to see which parts go together and what the problem actually looks like. So the first thing we're going to do is put it in standard form. So I am underlining all the pieces that need to be put together. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, add the x squared plus the 2x. So that will give me 2x squared plus x squared. So I brought those two together, and then 6x minus 4x. And then that is equal to, and that would be 8 minus 7. Now, bringing all the terms together, this is going to give me 3x squared plus 2x equals 1. All right, so that is the equation that I'm starting with. This is represented also by this. It is not in standard form yet because of this equals 1. Standard form would mean it equals 0. But what I'm going to do is look and see, do any of these match that? Look at the first one. It does. So that is an answer choice. This is also correct to match that. Now, if I look at this and I look at that, what is the difference? I have to do some analyzing here and saying, okay, that's the same, but this is a negative one, and it's on the left side of the equal sign, and it's set equal to 0. What would this look like if I set it equal to 0? I would subtract 1, subtract 1. Now I'd have 3x squared plus 2x minus 1 equals 0, which is exactly like that. So that means this one also will be one that applies to this. Now I'm noticing that the next 3 choices are this factored. And I'm pointing to this one now because this is in standard form, so it's ready to be factored. Now I have a choice here. I can either factor this, and depending on how quick you are with factoring, that might work well, or I could multiply each one of these out. I'm going to choose to multiply them out. So I'm going to look at this. First thing I'm going to notice, and this is where strategy, understanding how the numbers work together, comes in handy. I'm going to look at this, and I see this is a plus and that's a plus. I have a minus in there. So there's no way this could work because everything would be positive, and I need a negative. So I don't have to do any multiplying. I can just cross it out. It doesn't work. Now I'm going to look at this one. Okay, so 3x times 3x. Now, this is one, if I'm not careful, I might just write 3x squared, but it's 3 times 3. That's 9x squared. I need a 3x. That's not going to work. So then I'm going to look at this one. Now, I'm not going to take it for granted that because this one didn't work and that one didn't work, that this won't. I'm going to look at this and multiply it out. That's going to give me 3x squared, and then 3x times 1 plus 3x, and then negative 1 times x, minus 1x, and then negative 1 times positive 1, minus 1 equals 0. Put my middle terms together here. And what have I got? 3x squared plus 2x minus 1 equals 0. It matches that. So this one is also an answer choice. Now, I'm looking at this, and this is different from the rest, but this is a thinking test. This is an analyzation type of test. So now I've got to think, where would these have come from? Why would I just have x equals 1/3 and x equals -1? And then I got to think, oh, wait a minute, I just factored. Factors will tell me what the x's are. So I'm going to set each of these equal to 0 and see if they work. Another option would be to plug them in. Because it's a fraction, it would take a little longer, so I wouldn't recommend that. I'm just going to solve for 0 on each of these. So what I'm going to do is, I know this is the correct factored form. So I'm going to say 3x minus 1 equals 0. And x plus 1 equals 0. And I'm going to solve for the x. So my first move, add 1 to both sides. Just got a simple little algebra problem I'm doing here. X equals positive 1. Divide out the 3. And what do I end up with? X equals 1/3. That matches. But I'm not going to take it for granted. I'm going to double check. Well, I can look at this and say it's a -1, which I know this is always going to be the opposite. Minus 1, x equals, doesn't show that negative, x equals -1. So that is also an answer choice. So this one question, but I had to do work. I had to work here, here, and here. 7 different parts of it that I had to look carefully at to answer the question correctly. Because if I missed one, if I only did these 3, even though those 3 would have been correct, if I didn't have that with it, I missed the problem. Okay, watch the next video for the next problem.